What's up, everybody? My name is TaTo. I'm a music producer from East LA. I'm 20 years old, and this is my story. Welcome to Unheard Beat.
Is there a time I can be alone with you? I've given some thought to the things I want to do.
So hello, my name is TaTo. Real name Oscar Nunez. I'm 20 years old. I'm a music producer from East LA. So my first passion actually was not music. It actually was sports. I got into soccer early on, but I never was really good at it. And then I tried to pursue other things, but it just wasn't for me. But I always had this love for music that I had developed listening to electronic music early on in my teenage years at like age 12. I'd gotten super into Skrillex and Porter Robinson at the time, and their music was just super captivating to me. And I knew I wanted to do something with music, but I just didn't know how to do it. Um, and yeah, it wasn't until I got into my freshman year of high school where I got my first opportunity doing music. So here we are outside of Inner City Arts. I learned how to produce music here at the age of 14. I remember I got the opportunity from this lady who had come in my English class freshman year and was offering classes here. Some of the classes were painting, dancing, hip hop, like spoken word, things like that. One of the classes she had offered was digital music production. And it's a class that obviously resonated with me because I had a huge love for electronic music and creating music. So I'd come here every Saturday and I would learn how to produce music on Ableton. And yeah, a lot of my fondest memories were here. And a lot of the worst music I created was also here. But here I got the opportunity to learn how to produce music. And I even had one of my first performances here. So it really is a big blessing that I came to learn music here. Learned a lot of the basics and learned most of it all on my own afterwards. So after my freshman year of high school, I decided to leave HAT, where I was going here at Torres. I left the visual arts school and decided to go to the performing arts school. That way I could get better at doing music and also pursuing the producing further by, getting more knowledgeable in the music here at Ilapa. So finally getting into the performing arts school in 10th grade, I picked up piano because I was super inspired by a lot of my friends who I had here that were playing instruments. And, I just kind of wanted to fit in. I wanted to see if any of those instruments that they were playing were for me. And, I've noticed a lot of them didn't play piano. So I decided to pick that up with lessons they were giving here, and I also had to take a piano class here. So I picked that up, got really good at it really quick, and it just opened up a lot of opportunities for me from then on. I feel like suddenly getting better at piano gave me a lot of opportunities early on, and it was just moving so fast, and everything was just coming so quickly at me that it didn't even feel real in the moment. I'd gotten opportunities to play with my friends who were in a band called Forwards in December. But then they later rebranded into what their band is called Earringers. And I started jamming with them and playing shows with them here at school. Remember here in the auditorium here at Torres, we'd play rock band shows like 2 or 3 times a school year. And we'd cover songs by Kendrick and pop songs that people just knew. That way, it was just a bunch of hype and people knew who we are. And it was just a really good opportunity for me to be on stage and perform. And I feel like as a result of that, I got the opportunity to play with the school orchestra and the school choir. And I feel like because of those opportunities, I just got much more better at playing my instrument and music overall, so that when I graduated, I was much more confident with furthering my music production forward. So after I had graduated high school in the summer of 2018, I got accepted into Cal State LA to do music there. And I was super excited to go there at first, but once I got there, I realized it's not what I was expecting. And I didn't really enjoy my time there as a result of it. I feel like there was a lot of people that weren't creative and like-minded like myself. There were people that wanted to play in orchestras and wanted to pursue music down that road where you're basically playing behind the scenes. And that's cool and all, but what I wanted to do was much more. It required much more of an investment with myself and being much more creative and directing things. And I feel like that's what I wanted to do overall. And during that time, I had started getting much more familiar with my production and getting better with it, and finally taking on the courage and confidence to pursue it and embracing it overall. So like 10 weeks into college, my first semester at Cal State LA, I realized being there wasn't for me, at least in that moment, because I was working on my first single and I was getting so much better at music, and I feel like that's what I wanted to pursue in that moment. That's where my heart was. So I decided to drop out and get a job and, pursue music and, just kind of do it my own way. It wasn't until about September or so where the song was first done and I'd recorded my first music video at the time. And it wasn't until about November where I was able to release that first single. It's called Resilience. And luckily, it got a lot of good feedback and a lot of good traction. So that song, Resilience, when I released it in November 2018, did a lot for me during that time because it opened a door for me that nothing else really did. I feel like it was good for me to finally do that because a lot of my friends were doing their own independent stuff during the time as well with their projects, and were moving forward doing music outside of school, outside of high school, and I felt like I was being left behind because I had nothing really for myself. But luckily that song was did well, and I'd gotten a couple, like I think 1,000 views or something like that, like the first week or so. And yeah, I got a lot of good reception from my friends. I was super scared and insecure to release a song at first because nobody was doing electronic music in the area during the time. It was all indie and R&B and things like that. But luckily, a lot of my friends and people and peers who support me, they embraced it as well and liked it, and I felt much more comfortable moving forward in music after that. So it's beginning of 2019 now, and I'd gotten much more invested in my music and getting better at production overall, that I started writing this tune that to me was just another tune at the moment. I didn't think it'd get any bigger than that until I gotten my friends from Earringers. I got 3 of them to play on the song and to start writing for it, as well as my friend Jose Plasencia, who plays for a band called Lady and Arrow. He's an amazing guitarist. I'm super inspired by all of them. And we had written this song called Spend the Night, which is my second single. And it was crazy. The whole process of that song from start to finish was something that I had never had done before, and was a big learning experience for me, especially working with these amazing musicians who intimidated me at the time. And yeah, I feel like that song did so much for me in that moment. Before the song was released, I had made and self-directed a music video for the song where I'd invited a bunch of my friends who played extras in the music video, and I had my best friend Alexa also play the lead girl in the video. And it was just overall the best day, like one of the best days of my life, because we just had a bunch of people over at my house just sitting around and playing their part in the music video as extras. And it was a one-shot music video, so there was no edits or anything. So it was just this fun collaborative project where, a bunch of my friends and I were just running around the house, making a music video. And of course there was a bunch of fuck-ups here and there, but that was part of the process. Overall, it was just the funnest day of my life. The music video then came out and it had performed so well, and the response to it was just so amazing. A bunch of people really loved it, and I feel like because of that song, it opened up so many more opportunities for me locally and with people who make music around the area. I got a lot more recognition because of that song, and I feel like overall that's one of my best songs I've ever written. It was super fun for me to work on that song, and I'm just still super mesmerized as to how I was able to accomplish that and how that just came about, and it just opened up a lot for me later that year. So in the summer of 2019, after I'd released Spend the Night and I'd gotten a bit more recognition in the area, I had started working on a project with my friend Ocean, who owns a entertainment production company called Your Friends that throws, backyard shows in the area and, does its best to promote up-and-coming talent in East LA and in Boyle Heights. And he had contacted me to do a live session where they record artists playing their songs in just a live setting where it's captured professionally so that, you could upload the video and people could listen to back then. And I recorded 3 songs there. And overall, it was just a great experience because once again, I was able to play my songs live for the first time with my best friends who also play music. And it was just another beautiful collaborative project for me that, allowed me to show the world who I was and what I was doing. And I feel like because of that, I had, gotten a lot more out of it musically and as an artist than anything I'd ever done before. And I'm super grateful for that. So after the summer of 2019, after I'd done the Your Friend session and everything, I had gotten the opportunity at a nonprofit organization I participate in where I work in the studio and things like that to do my first show in front of actual people. A show where I was able to finally play my own songs in front of an audience. And it became my first and only show I played as TaTo. And it was madness for me because it was the first time I was able to play songs in front of people with my best friends who had come through to play the set with me. And my family even showed up to that. And it was something that was super beautiful because I think there was about 30 people or so in the crowd. But to me, it was just a magical moment where I was able to shine and be able to show those in the audience and whoever was there to, who I really was and what kind of music I was making. And I feel like as a result of that show, I'd gotten a pretty much more solid fan base to those who attended the show and still follow me. And it gave me much more confidence to embrace myself as a musician and the music I was making at the time. So overall, that show on, I think it was August the 9th of 2019, really did a lot for me. And I feel like, yeah, I can't say much more about it except that it was just it was fucking crazy. So after not being in school for about a year and, doing my own music, and I got a lot out of it just that year doing music and, focusing on that overall, I'd gotten back into school because I wanted to see what I could do with that. And this was the beginning of 2020 where I had gotten into the music school at LACC because I had a couple friends who had attended there, and there were a lot of like-minded people like myself who were doing music, pursuing it creatively, and that was a big step for me forward because I'd gotten to know a lot of great minds there. And during my time there, I was working on a song with my best friend, one of my best friends, Jose Mariano, aka K-Fresh, who is a really amazing producer, and I'm fortunate enough to know because he had gotten me super into electronic music early on when I was like 12 or 13. And we were working on this song called Hey You. And it was a really beautiful experience for me to work with him finally after so many years on a song. And this is before the pandemic hit. So we had finished the song way before that. And then pandemic hit, and it was just something that hit all of us hard. So the pandemic hit, we were in quarantine, and it was devastating for everybody, even myself and a bunch of creative people. For myself especially because, I was working on Hey You with my friends, and it pushed back the release date for that song for, a long time. And we had plans to shoot a music video and, have a lot of people in the music video, but that wasn't doable, of course, because at the beginning of the pandemic, it was just a big shock to everybody. So I took the initiative to once again self-direct and shoot my own music video on my phone at the park with my iPhone 6 for that music video, Hey You, through a camcorder app. And I feel like the ending product for the music video wasn't the best, but it really did fit the song, and it did pretty well. And I even had my friend send over videos from him when he was DJing so that it fits the video. And overall, the music video looks a bit awkward as a result of that because I'd edited it myself and did everything for the music video by myself. But, overall, it was a really great project to work on with my friend K-Fresh and Julia Andy. Shout out Julia Andy, who did vocals on that song. And yeah, I feel like that song did really well, and it's one of my favorite songs I'd ever written. Beautiful melody, beautiful everything. And yeah, but this was still the pandemic, and it was so hard for all of us who make music to move forward after that. So after releasing the music video in April of this year, 2020, I think moving forward, being in the pandemic and not being able to really express myself as creatively as I wanted to really had hit me hard as well as others, because there was no shows. People I wanted to work with could not work during the time because everybody feared contacting the virus. And I feel like during that time I was just left feeling confused and not knowing what to do. So I'd fallen into really weird depression that made me realize a lot about myself on what I was doing during the time. And I feel like I had changed perspectives about where I wanted to take my music. And I finally had a much more deeper vision as to how I'd take my music forward from then on. And I'd started a new era for myself that I feel like I would call it a new era of music, where I was able to write songs about me and topics that were much more personal to me, like depression, suicide, breakups, things like that, that people oftentimes deal with, but never really have an outlet to, I guess, speak about. So yeah, I'd started a new era of music that I feel like for me pushed myself even more forward. So after the summer of 2020, I had started experimenting with shrooms, and I feel like as a result of that, I had a much more different outlook on myself and life because of it. It was such a spiritual experience. So I had started writing songs that were much more vivid and much more personal to me. And one of the songs I'd fully embraced during that time that I had finished was called "Emotional Scars," which is about losing people. And yeah, that song was the first song of this new era of music. In August of 2020, I'd released the song and the video, and it did really well for me, that first new song of era. But I feel like during then, I was still lost as an individual and didn't know what to do. I was still very depressed and didn't have an understanding of myself. But it still felt really good to finally release that first song that I guess I fully embraced as myself and an artist. But then later on that next month, I had fallen into a different kind of depression that was bigger than anything I'd felt because of the pandemic and a bunch of other personal things I was feeling during the time. And decided to do shrooms again, except during this time around, the shrooms hit different this time, and I had a really bad trip. And that same night I had taken that trip on shrooms, I almost decided to commit suicide. But what's weird about that night is I was also writing the second single for that new era music, and it's my last and newest single that came out, called "Anywhere But Here." And I feel like after that specific shroom trip I feel like I was much more of an understanding person to myself and what I was feeling during the time, that I now had an understanding of who I was and what I wanted to do. And overall, that was just such a life-changing moment for me, because overall I decided that I wanted to live and be myself and fully embrace myself and find peace within myself. So I pursued that single I was writing that night further, and it later became my favorite song I've ever written, called "Anywhere But Here." "Anywhere But Here" is a song that speaks about the depression that can come with feeling like you're alone. Not alone without a partner or a relationship or whatever, but just being alone while you're depressed and feeling like you have nobody there to support you or to be there for you. And it was such a beautiful song for me because I loved everything about the song. It was such a psychedelic moment for me, of course, when I was writing for it. But overall, the meaning and the beauty behind the song is what really captivates me, and I feel like captivated a bunch of other people who heard it. The only lyrics in the song are, "You've been alone for too long," and it just goes on throughout the song and progresses into this beautiful mess that comes in during the drop. And I'd also released a music video for that song as well that was very different. And I think because of that song, I was finally able to get out of that black and white theme I was doing on my Instagram and all my socials for so long. And I was finally able to blossom as a person as a result of that song and those experiences I had with shrooms, and finally finding myself after being depressed for so long. And yeah, overall, it's been a really good start to this new era of music I've been writing. People have been really liking the songs that I've been releasing, and I think moving forward, I feel very confident with what I have coming for this upcoming year. So it is now the last month of this year, 2020, and I've taken my time for this month to be off social media and finish up a couple songs that I have been wanting to finish up for a while. So being off social media for sure has helped me be much more creative in that sense. For this upcoming year, I for sure want to venture out into different genres and not fall into one box, because I feel like right now I'm just falling into electronic music solely. And I want to be much more than that and not just fall into that one, genre. So I do for sure have plans to work with other people, if the time is right, play shows, and finally reunite with a bunch of my friends who also work on music and hopefully collaborate with them. In 5 years' time, 10 years' time, I for sure want to be playing in front of a lot of people, playing much more intimate festivals, because I feel like that's where my demographic is going to be mainly. But I, of course, don't know when that's going to happen, but I for sure am patient. And first of all, want to venture out and get much more of a local audience that embraces me a lot more. And yeah, I just can't wait to see what this new year brings for me, because I do have a lot planned. So thank you guys for listening to my story. I hope to see some of you guys next year, 2021, at a show, wherever it may be. I love meeting people who listen to my music, and I feel like it's just a super big blessing to be where I'm at right now in life. And I just can't wait to see what this new year brings. So thank you. Bye-bye. Stay blessed. Stay beautiful. I'd gotten super... So finally going into the This is my story. Welcome to Unheard Beat. It's fuck.
Nice. Hey, Andres. How's it?